Here we are on the NatureWatch website again, looking at some of the things we discussed in chat this morning. So I'm not logged in at the moment, so we'll see just what you see if you don't have an account. You can go to observations, and then you can go to species here, and you see these ENIN little boxes there. Now if you click on one of these, what you see is what that box stood for. So it is introduced to New Zealand, that is the IN. And here is the graph showing when it is mostly observed. And we can see that that one's mostly being observed in March, April and May. The grey are observations that haven't reached research grade, so there might be no date with them, there might be no time with them. Well, there will be a date, or they wouldn't show in this view, or there haven't been two people agree on what they are. The green is the research grade observations, so they've got a date, they've got a time, two people in the NatureWatch community have agreed what they are. So sometimes that's going to show if it's a plant that it's visible at that time and it's dormant at others, that it's flowering and catching people's attention at that time and not flowering and looking a little bit less interesting at others. We discovered with the birds, let's see if we've got one at the moment, that just about all of them that we looked at had a peak in June, and this is going to be no different. June is when the garden bird survey is on, so more people are out there making observations. It's not that there are more birds at that time. And similarly, when we look at maps, so if we go view all observations, and we can go to a map view, we have to use our common sense a little bit, in that it may not be that the tui is only where it has been seen. It may be that some of these regions are less populated to have people taking photos, and there may be other issues that affect what we see on a map so far as well, just like the garden bird survey affects what we see over time. Sometimes there is a very genuine limitation on the range of something. I wonder if I can find something like that. Trying to think of something that we don't find in too many places. How about taro? Tends to be further north because it's frost tender. Oh, I'm not sure if they've heard of it under those terms. I think it's a calocasia. Oh, they don't like that one. I might have spelt it wrongly. Trying to think of something else that's super frost tender that I could try looking for. Even the native tree fuchsia is a bit frost tender, and we can see that it's not really in the southern mountains there. Whoops, we've still got our tui showing. Go away, tui. No, not interested in you. So in the coldest areas of the South Island, it's not being seen. Further north it keeps its leaves all year, then we get partway south and it's deciduous, dropping its leaves in winter, and that will affect whether it's noticed and photographed when it's bare too. So all sorts of things like that are going on. Now what else do we want to look at? If you want to identify, and you actually have to be logged in to do this, so it's going to let me log in here. If you're wanting to identify things here, and you might be doing, say, Marine Metre Squared or something, and you might see something that's similar to what you're after. So let's go filters and go, oh, mollusks are probably more likely than fish, even in rock pools. Let's go for mollusks. Okay, update search. So we've got lots of snails here. Let's see if we can find something that's obviously in the water. Oh, we've got some fossils here. Cool lumpy native leaf vein slugs. There's all kinds of fascinating stuff to discover. trouble with mollusks is you get the land ones and the sea ones, and whichever one you're looking for, you get the others. But if you scroll through here and you thought, I think my limpet might be that one, you can click on that one. It gets a bit bigger. You can click again and it should zoom to the large view from this view here. Have another look. Think, oh, that's a bit like my limpet, but I'm not sure. Click on the chain here to go to the actual observation and have another look and think, oh no, I wasn't anywhere near there, it might be wrong. Zoom out, see if it's anywhere else. Now this seems to be a fairly uncommon kind of limpet, so maybe that's not your one. So what can we do from there? We can click on the species, and this is what you do if it's similar to yours but you're not sure. Go view all observations, and I'd go to the grid view. Okay, they actually look quite different from each other, and you might think, actually mine looks a lot like that one. I'm pretty confident. And then you could name yours if you've uploaded it, see if anyone else on the site agrees with you, or you could think, oh, I'm still not sure yet. So go back a couple of stages to here, right? And this is this one here. This is the species. You could pop up to the genus level or even the family level. Go view all observations again. And there's only 36, so you could look at them all. If there were heaps and heaps, you might go to the species button and look at the species and think, no, there's no photograph of that one. You'd have to click on that to see, and there will be photos when you go further. So you go there, view all observations. You could think, oh, that's a bit more like my one, but it's hard to tell because it's got a bit of seaweed or something on it there, and I don't know what it would look like without it. But here, with only the 4 species, I think we'd look at the observations, scroll down and think, are any of them more like mine or less like mine? What seems to be making the difference? Oh, that's interesting, that's the eggs. Cool, eh? Sometimes we've got measurements which help you to decide, is it that kind of size? Is it wildly different? Here we've got the undersides of shells, which aren't really going to help you much if your one's alive. But in this way you can get a bit more information and see, are you confident of your observation or not so much? And if you're really not confident of your observation, you could just add false limpets as your ID. You don't need to ID to the species level. You could just add gastropods, and the fact of adding that means people interested in gastropods, which is all the slugs and snails, are more likely to spot your observation than if it just says life, or it doesn't say anything at all, or it just says animals. So identify to whatever level you are comfortable with when you upload your observations, or when you're trying to observe for Marine Metre Squared. Just do your best rather than going to the species level and thinking, oh, but I don't know if I'm right. Go to the level at which you are confident. So hopefully that is also a wee bit helpful. If you're trying to identify something and you want help from me, just ring up, email, or come to chat and ask. Okay, bye for now.